Thank you very much indeed, President, Madam Secretary-General de Maria, President of the Parliamentary Assembly, Madam Commissioner Gabriel de Maria, ladies and gentlemen, ministers, parliamentarians. The 27th of January is a very important date, as we're all aware, and allow me to start off by mourning the loss of Raphael Israel, who is the president of the Union of Auschwitz deportees who worked tirelessly to hand on memory to young generations. I was someone who knew him and saw him generously working to hand down the memory of the Holocaust in schools. And there are too few survivors who can now go to our schools, colleges and universities to give a first-hand account of what happened. But rest assured that schools, in the widest sense of the term, as well as teachers, are there to take over the torch and to hand down the memory of the Holocaust in the sense of humanity, as the President of the Republic has just reminded us. And it is worth remembering that there is no future at all for European democracies if it is incapable of handing down to future citizens the values which underpin their societies. It is important to never cease reminding ourselves of historical facts. It is no coincidence that the idea of instituting an international day in memory of the victims of the Holocaust is the work of our education ministers, because they are alive to what is at stake. And all nations have education at the heart of this process. And it is this process which is there at the heart of our humanity. And that is why we are duty-bound to organize the teaching of the history of the Holocaust, as well as research, and to preserve the memory of victims and allow pupils full teaching and enlightenment as to this genocide. Because we're not only talking about the past, we're talking about the present as well as the future. And unfortunately, our current circumstances are characterized by a danger to the values which underpin our European societies. Our ministry, for example, has decided to include teaching of the Holocaust in all 3 levels of education: in primary schools, secondary schools, and in our lycée, our grammar schools. Nothing is more damaging to pupils and to their critical faculties, and indeed their free will, than denying them their historical bearings. I firmly believe that the issue of history teaching is a central issue for our educational systems as well as our democratic societies. That is why we need to beef up cooperation between our different education systems in order to increase the effectiveness of what we do together. And from this perspective, a tool such as the European History Teaching Observatory, I believe, offers us a wealth of opportunities for comparison and a sharing of different perspectives in teaching about the Holocaust. And that is why I would like to thank most warmly the whole of the Council of Europe, starting with you, Madam Secretary-General, and you, ladies and gentlemen, parliamentarians, for your critical commitment to such a crucial subject. And I believe that this will benefit our children, our pupils, the future citizens of Europe, because schools are the cornerstone of history teaching, and it is undeniable that history teaching must go hand in hand with building a civil society which is based on memory. And the School of European History, which the President of the Republic has called for, is fully consistent with this objective, because an ill wind is blowing in certain parts of the world. History teaching is threatened by ideologues who twist truths in order to shore up their political, ideological bias. This is intolerable, And we will continue to promote the teaching of history, as this is an eminently European value. We need cooperation between historians to do that, because historical research is also a universal value. Because behind all the speeches and all the dissembling, there is an irreducible, undeniable reality. Convoy 77, 1,314 French and foreign Jews, including 300 children, were sent to the death camps. We will never forget their sacrifice, and I am delighted that via this project, pupils across France are honouring their memory and preserving their legacy. I would also like to commend stakeholders across Europe who come to support what we do in schools with these kinds of projects, which are absolutely crucial if we are to indelibly mark the consciousness of our pupils. And I hope that your association and this project, which is truly European, centred on Convoy 77, will be able, with the support of the Franco-German Office for Youth, and I'm very grateful to it for its support, continue to raise awareness amongst young people in France today and in future in Germany, Austria, Denmark, Lithuania, Poland and Switzerland, as well as across all member states of the Council of Europe and indeed throughout the world. It's an initiative that we can only encourage, and we will work ceaselessly. We are seeing a resurgence of anti-Semitism, because we know that if you don't teach history, then you don't prepare societies for the future. And it's these kinds of challenges that we need to address today. We will fight anti-Semitism, and we will fight for memory and for history. Thank you very much.